Movement's good, man.
Movement,
It scares people. Like, I'm in a lesson and someone goes, did I move? I'm like, what do you mean, did you move? How are you expect to get the club over your head if you don't move? People get so like frozen and static and armsy, and then they hit it nowhere and they hit it poorly.
All right, so if you guys watch the channel regularly, you know that consistency has been a chase of mine for quite some time, and I'm sure a lot of you struggle with the same thing. Sometimes you feel like you can hit a great golf shot, and other times it's just a disaster. Well, one thing that I believe is that I might have a bit of a problem with my sequencing. So today, we're at the beautiful Plainfield Country Club, which we actually got a chance to play with Ryan Hager in a playing lesson not too long ago. But Ryan, today we're back, something different, not a playing lesson, a little bit of a one-on-one swing evaluation.
Oh, I took lots of notes, so I know.
Okay,
I know
so
exactly
he's got a baseline already. But I'll tell you what I find, and I've heard some coaches point it out peripherally in some other lessons of sequencing, like, a little bit of a sequencing issue, but where I find it comes into play is when I'm out on the course, if it's either a pressured situation or a situation where I don't feel like I have the length, I find that I'm rushing my swing a bit and I'm starting more with the arms.
Sure. I think it certainly sounds like a sequence problem. You know, I think contact all over the face, things like that, generally come from overactivity of the hands and arms. And if that's starting at the top of the swing, you're gonna have a hard time, I think, recovering by the time you get to the bottom. Sequence can be used for better consistency. It's also really good for speed. So in situations like that, it might feel like you're gonna hit it farther by yanking on the club harder with your hands, but usually the speed gets dumped pretty early, and then you're actually almost slowing down as you get to the ball. You want the speed to peak at the bottom, which means that you kind of have to go from the ground up. Use your legs and your pelvis first. That sort of pulls on the rib cage, which pulls on the arms, which pulls on the club. And if you do that in reverse order, speed goes out the window, contact starts to suffer, and generally face control is a struggle as well. So we'll kind of work on things that you could do at home, as well as a couple of things that you could also do at home, but definitely do while you're hitting balls.
Yeah, that's what we need, something that I can repeat and really drive it home. Because like I said, sometimes I feel like I got the sequence, and other times I don't.
Yeah,
it's on or it's off.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, the word consistency gets brought up in pretty much every lesson I teach.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like the holy grail of golf is just doing things more consistently. To do things more consistently while you play, you need to practice them consistently.
Okay. All right. So where do we start here?
We're going to start with the one that does not involve a golf club. So what I'm going to have you do, you're going to slide this stick right through your belt loops. Second, alignment rod goes across your shoulders like this. So the first sequence we're going to look at is the rotational sequence, the way that your body pivots on the way back, and then how that pivot transitions into the downswing. So I'm just going to have you do a backswing rotation. So you're going to sort of turn back like you would making a normal backswing in golf posture.
And then just stop at the top?
Stop at the top, yes. Okay. Great. So a couple things to note here that I like. One is your upper body has turned more than your lower body. I learned to teach from a guy named Jim McLean, and he coined that as the X factor because the two rods are going to make the shape of an X, right? If you find that when you're doing this, there's no separation and there's no X created, you might need to see a trainer or a physical therapist or something to start unlocking things in your upper body so that you can create separation. Separation is a prerequisite to having a good sequence. If your body moves all in one piece, it's very hard to sequence the swing correctly. If you're able to turn your lower body 45 degrees and then turn your upper body another 45 degrees and create a nice X factor, that is part of creating a good sequence. So the next piece of this whole X factor thing is called the X factor stretch, and this happens in the transition where you have created that separation, but now the downswing is going to start with sort of opposite rotation of the lower body, and this also happens while there's a shift going on. It can be very complicated, but when you have sort of different colored sticks to work with, you got a white and a brown one, you're able to sort of think like, okay, I'm going to try to move the white stick, for me orange, I'm I'm gonna try to move the white stick back towards the target without moving the upper stick too much. And that's a great way to trigger the downswing sequence.
Yeah, as opposed to where now a lot of times I'm triggering it by throwing the shoulders over.
Yeah, right. So if you start to see, you know, the improper sequence could be you get up to the top and you yank your arms down and none of this moves. That happens sometimes. But more commonly, I see that.
Yes.
Where the upper body, the right shoulder kind of goes high and out towards the ball. You get that over the top, classic slice kind of pattern to the swing, and a big loss of power.
The feel that I get from it, and I say it often to Mike, I say, I feel like I rushed that.
Yeah.
And it feels rushed because the top gets in front of the bottom half of my body, and I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Afterwards, I can think about it and say, that felt rushed.
Right.
But in the moment, I don't realize I'm doing it.
Exactly. So if that's you, this is a perfect way to work on this. You're gonna shift the two sticks in this direction.
Okay.
You're gonna turn back, do this together. The goal, make sure I don't hit you here, make that same X factor as you created on the way back. And then as you come down, you wanna get the pelvis stick to lead the race into impact. And by the time you get to sort of the point where they connect, you should be connecting the upper body stick to the back of the lower body stick.
Gotcha.
If your upper body races in front, there you go. That's a good slice fix, that's a good sequence fix. If you are leading with the lower body, chances are the club's gonna come down more from the inside and you're gonna pick up speed the right way.
So we're gonna bring it back.
Good,
get that
create separation and then create more, there you go, more separation.
Starting with the bottom.
Perfect. So if you get your hands on a pressure board like this that just tips side to side.
Yep.
There's another sequence that I think just comes with good athletic motions like throwing a ball or swinging a baseball bat. What we were just practicing was sort of a rotation sequence, right? Getting the pelvis to rotate in front. But if you did that and you hung back, nothing good happens. So this is gonna help you to get sort of the shift, rotate, swing, or like a pitcher on a mound. They step forwards first, no rotations happen. They rotate second and they throw third, right? So that's the common order of doing things at a very high speed, right? Baseball pitchers throw 100 miles an hour because they have that sequence, sort of that process to movement. You know, a hockey player taking a slap shot, a golfer swinging a club, they're all very similar. And this board can help you to highlight that while you control the rotation. So what I like to do is sort of get the board tipping back and forth. I think pre-shot movement, this is a separate thing, but staying dynamic, staying in motion, I'm a big fan of. I think being just static and frozen before the swing can ruin your sequence by itself. So if you kind of get the board moving back and forth, I'm eventually gonna sort of tilt the board to the right, start my backswing, and then I'm gonna tilt the board to the left, and I'm not gonna turn yet. So I'm gonna tilt, rotate, rotate. And I think that's the best way, if you're gonna do this at home, to learn the sequence, because you get the lateral motion correct, you get the pressure shifting under your feet done correctly, and it starts to feel very like flowy and very athletic. It helps sort of paint a nice picture of how the swing is supposed to work. So I think this is I wouldn't call it advanced, but this is the total package of how this would work.
So they're saying like getting a little bit of movement.
Yep, I like tipping back and forth a few times, and then when you're kind of getting the cadence of it, you're gonna step to the right, turn to the right, step to the left, turn to the left. Bingo, that's the whole thing. Yep, perfect. Yep, awesome. The second drill, and this one, I think labeling where your feet are gonna go will help. So I just put like a border on the outside of each foot so that I don't step too far. I just call this drill the shuffle drill, because this time you're gonna start with your feet in the middle. And I'm just gonna like slowly move my feet out to my stance. And once I plant to the right, swing starts. I plant to the left, follow through, or downswing kind of starts. And that's a great way to do what the board gives you without having the board at your disposal.
A lot of movement.
Movement's
A lot
good,
of
man.
movement, yeah.
It scares people.
Right.
Because people are like, oh, did I move? Like, I'm in a lesson and someone goes, did I move? I'm like, what do you mean, did you move? How are you expect to get the
Yeah.
club over your head if you don't move? And people get so like frozen and static
Yeah.
and armsy, and then they hit it nowhere and they hit it poorly.
Well,
and
I'm
you look
super
at,
guilty of
yeah.
it too, because sometimes what I'll do is I'll be so focused on getting in the right setup that once I get there, I just want to freeze.
Yeah.
You know, but I
And
get the idea of that athleticism
Yeah.
of just movement.
the analogy I like to give is a professional basketball player that's good at free throws and a professional basketball player that's not good at free throws. And the good ones, you see them, it's so nonchalant. They're spinning the ball around, a couple dribbles, and then they're just like, and it's in. And the other guys are like frozen. They're scared to death. They have the yips at the free throw line. They freeze. They are thinking about all this technique stuff, and their body just doesn't run the program correctly. So when you look at golfers, I can spot a 20 handicap just by what they do prior to taking the club back. It's like this guy versus like a pro. You see them re-grip the club, their feet move around, they look at their target a lot, they waggle,
Super
you know.
fluid.
It just looks relaxed. It looks like they know what they're doing, you know, versus the guy who's just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta get things moving and get comfortable with it. The first time you do it, you'll probably hit a bad shot and then you wanna quit doing it, right? I see that 1,000 times, right? But if you do it enough, it becomes routine. And once it's routine, you don't have to think about it anymore, and it helps you.
Hey guys, I just want to pop in here for a moment to thank this video sponsor, Skillshare. That's right, 2022 is here, and one of our big goals this year is to find new ways to make the videos you see here on the channel bigger and better, and that is where Skillshare comes in. That's right, Skillshare is helping us make 2022 a year of new learning, growth, and connection through creativity. So let's say we want to find a way to get better drone shots of the golf courses we feature here on the channel. Quick search on Skillshare and boom, endless classes are available for us to choose from. One example we love is drone videography with Oliver Astrologo, which is packed with the knowledge we need to level up our drone videography game. And Skillshare classes are ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while you're exploring new skills. Best of all, the first 1,000 people who use the link that we post in the video description will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. So make 2022 the year that you learn something new with Skillshare's thousands of incredible online classes. All right, now let's get back to our lesson with Ryan Hager. Do you mind if I give that one a quick try and we'll see?
Grab your 7 iron there. Good, step to the right. Beautiful, great job.
Yeah.
You're using like your whole body, your lower body is starting things. There's tempo and all sorts of other things involved here, but I think the basic movements are sort of that from the ground up idea where your lower body, your feet, your knees, your pelvis, like that's sort of the thing that triggers the downswing. So it takes some time to get used to, but you need to embrace movement. You need to see movement as the thing that's gonna help you, not the thing that's gonna hurt you, because that's the killer of a good golf sequence is like trying not to move incorrectly. It's like let yourself break some rules and free the swing up like you said.
Break some rules, man.
Break some rules.
Come on.
That's it. All right, well, we know I've got my homework, so big thanks to Ryan. Like I said, we'll put all of his contact information in the video description. And if you like this one, make sure you guys check out this video here where we worked a little bit on other things, adding some control to my golf swing. I think you'll like that one. We'll see you guys soon.